So domain name service. This is the service that translates a URL into an IP address. Because to traverse across a network to get to where you want to go, hopefully by now you understand that you need to have an IP address. The problem with IPs are they're a series of numbers and they're too hard to remember. So what we do is we remember URLs because they're easier. So we remember the words, a bit like in your phone, how you remember the names and not the numbers. So you store the number, but you store a corresponding name with it. So if you think of it like a phone book, what happens is when you go onto the internet, you go and look up www.google.com in a phone book and it will return a subsequent IP address that will take you to Google. So, for example, 74.125.224.72 is a way of getting to google.com. So, essentially, this big phone book that you go to look up is known as the domain name service. The way it works is essentially if you want to visit a website, you're on the client machine here. You need to visit the domain name service first. And this is just the details of getting to this. The IP address for your domain name service is already preset in your router, so you don't even realize this is going on, but it is. And then once you've gone there and you've got the equivalent phone number or the IP address, you can then go across the internet to get the website that you want. So the steps are, the first step is the client types in the URL and it will send it to the domain name service. The domain name service will then respond with an IP address. So it looks up the URL in its table and finds a corresponding IP address and sends it back to the client. When the client receives this, it will send a request across the internet using that IP address as the destination to the web server to request the website, and then the web server will respond and send it back to the client, and then it builds in your browser and displays on your screen. So all of this is going on in the background. You just don't realize it happens. It's so fast. You're talking milliseconds to be able to do this, which is quite amazing. But that's what domain name service is, and you need to know these 4 steps that I've listed here. So step 1, sending the URL to the DNS. DNS looking up and responding with the IP. You then using that IP to go across the internet to get to the web server, and the web server sending the website back. Those 4 steps could come up in an exam question, so make sure you know them.